Replacing upper connecting plates on an above-ground pool. I have an 1833 above-ground pool that uses a saltwater generator for chlorine. I've recently noticed I have some severe corrosion on the galvanized steel upper connecting plates. Wondering if I start replacing them one at a time, the walls might bow out. Are the walls stiff enough to maintain the integrity of the pool if I replace them one at a time, or do I have to partially or completely drain the water? And then my ancillary question, is there any way to prevent your galvanized steel connecting plates from corroding?
Okay, so a couple things. Likely, you could replace one at a time and not have a problem. Here's the challenge. An oval pool is different than a round pool. A round pool is pressure is equal on all sides and will kind of hold itself together. So the likelihood of you taking one top rail off is not an issue. On a long wall, think about the shape of it. On a long wall, you have a buttress that holds it. That should hold it in place, but you always run the risk of that moving slightly. Ideally, you replace it when the water is lower, but I think if you did one at a time, it took your time, it might move a little bit, and you might have to adjust your screws, but likely you could do it. I think the issue is the salt generator and the galvanizing, the problem with the galvanized steel. Probably more important than doing all of that, because it's just going to happen again, is you need to properly bond the pool with a zinc, it's called a sacrificial anode. Whether it's plumbed into your system somehow, or you need, because it's salt, that when you add the salt to the water can now conduct electricity, and it's picking up line voltage from leach from the ground somewhere, millivolts and microvolts of electricity that are attacking and galvanize. You have a galvanic action that's actually destroying and now rusting your parts. If you have a sacrificial anode in the system, the electricity will attack that first and not attack the plates on your rails. So while replacing them at this point is probably important, you should also look at how could I bond the pool. Do it yourself, get an electrician. You might, depending if you can bond and ground back to your system at the house, or you should at minimum figure out how to get a zinc anode in it. Even if it's just a bolt-in zinc anode that goes in the bottom of the skimmer, that's better than not having one, because a lot of that electricity will damage that. It's called a sacrificial anode for a reason. It's the softest metal there, and the electricity attacks it first. And that way it's not attacking the pool walls, the other things. You also have a little bit of an issue because it's salt, that the salt itself can start creating a bit of the problems with the galvanized steel, but your bigger part of the problem is probably because now it conducts electricity, and you need to leach that electricity away from the pool, and you won't have as much damage to the wall of the pool.